Yes. We are here. Happy Tuesday. I'm sorry I'm a little late. I'm here, y'all. Just giving folks a little time to catch up with the delay. I was told that people need time to come in before I start jumping into stuff. So thanks for that tidbit. I really appreciate it. So, as y'all are coming in, I want to know, how's your evening going? Like, tell me what's happening on this Tuesday night for you. What's going on? Tuesday, I know people have things to do. I hope y'all are early voting, please. And do you have your cocktail, like tea, lemonade, water, some fancy, healthy shit? I don't know, whatever you got. Let me know how's your evening going, what you're drinking on, or is it dinner time? So while y'all coming in, tell me like what you're up to this Tuesday night. Oh, can I give a shout out to Miss Kim? This is my show, right? So shout out to Miss Kim that tunes in every Tuesday. I love you, honey. And I want to thank everybody else out there a million times for joining me tonight. I'm so thrilled to be bringing y'all here. I am every week with my special guest. I really hope y'all have really been enjoying the series as much as I have. So when I started this journey, I was struggling with some things and had hella people coming to me with questions, like questions about their journey, like to healing, moving on, growing, and even y'all know some questions about sex. So the birth of Here I Am is here to help all of us get to a place of elevation and liberation. So last week I spoke with the spiritual club, Mr. Rogers, and I surely with the nuggets that she left us with. Today, I'm bringing you someone that recently came into my life, and it may not be that long, but I will say she's definitely had a huge impact in this short time. I'm not sure how many of y'all have heard me saying God is on the throne. Well, this is the originator. Is Chi Chi.
Good evening.
Hey, Shook. Thank you for joining me
Thank
tonight.
you for having me.
Yes, I am sipping on my Cabernet. Are you sipping on anything?
Just a little around me.
Red Cup Twins. Cheers.
Cheers, clank clank.
Yes. So I have to first thank you for showing up. We've talked and you've had some things like going on in your life that you still showed up tonight to share like all of this light with us. So thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yes. And tell me, what does the God is on the throne mantra mean to you? Because I've been chanting like Nom Yo.
I already got a sip.
It's been helping me so much when I just wanted to scream, honey. What tell me where you get that from?
Listen, that came from 2020 just being 2020. Like literally, like it was me and my friend, and we was just talking about all the situations that we're just asking God to just get us through. And we was just like, yo, this is crazy, this is hectic. And then we was just coming up with things like, you know what, like just those little things that you hear, like like your older mamas used to say, like, God is in control and all of this stuff. And then finally we was just doing that. We was like, you know what, like though I walked through the valley shadow, we was just spitting verses, but then that's a little too long. Finally we
Mhm.
was just like, my friend was like, he's there, he's here, God is on the throne. And we was like, God is on the throne. And then it just became this thing where it's like now it's literally like an adverb, it's a hyperbole, it's an adjective. Like it's just any situation that it's like you just have no words or you're about to lose full control of yourself. You just gotta remember God is on that throne. And like literally I
Y'all need to get that on a
snatching
shirt. I
people.
promise.
Like it prevented me from snatching people, it prevented me from securing job security. It's just been that little tidbit that is just like just a humble reminder that whatever you're going through, literally like there's something bigger and greater than you that will definitely get you through whatever you're get you through it. Not necessarily overcome, because the lesson is sometimes it's not even the devil. Sometimes God's just testing you, trying to stretch you, but it'd be
Hmm.
a little too much and you're like, I just need your grace, just help me get it through. So it's just one of those
Hmm.
things like, God is on the throne.
Ooh.
So that's how that started. It was just me going through it.
That is like really speaking it over life because you really think about like all of the positive and negative things that go on and how I have to overpower those negative thoughts with something besides a positive thought, because having a positive thought may be too hard for me to even think of at that time. So something as simple as God is on the throne has helped me in those moments where I'm just not clouded negativity.
Yeah, I think that's what people like. Positive affirmations are wonderful, but it also causes like cognitive dissonance. It's like if you're speaking something that you don't believe, it's not working.
It's not working.
Like you can't say, "Oh, I am beautiful" when you feeling real dry and ugly. Sometimes, sometimes you just got to start saying things that you like. You know what? I like my lips. I like my smile, and then you build until you get up. And then it's like if you going through it, and it's like, "Oh, I will overcome," or "Tomorrow's a better day." Like I can't think in that moment because I'm negative right now. I'm a little negative
Mm-hmm.
Nancy. But what I do know and believe is God is on that throne.
Hello. And I can say that. So, what is the importance of speaking those things over your life?
The importance is just like how the Bible even said it is like, the power of life and death is in the tongue. So it's kind of like I've been a firm believer in whatever you speak to power. Even the negative, like even if it's one of those things, like even subconsciously when you say and you joke like, "Oh, you dumb," or "I ain't shit," like I don't want to internalize that negative energy. You know,
Right.
like we listen to like rap music and like R.I.P. like people like Chinks drugs or Pop Smoke, and it's like they talk Biggie, Tupac, they talk death so much, and then it's like you saw their demise, and it's kind of one of those things. It's like it's unfortunate, but it's like you don't want to put that in the atmosphere. I
Mm-hmm.
speak life, I speak blessings, I speak healing, I speak transmutations. Like I want to grow, I want to heal. So it's like I want to speak these things into existence. I want love, I want peace, I want prosperity.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think saying it out loud and then actually doing the deeds, because work with no deeds is like faith without deeds is what is that?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to apply the action, and
I
then it's implemented.
am gonna say this because Kiki Palmer made that post that went like all over. Like one thing you have to do is like forgive your parents. So I will be transparent that is one thing I'm trying to like do, and I've done. So thank you for you always find a way to keep me accountable. Because at first I was like, I'll think about that later. But tell me, what is one thing that you're trying to denounce from your life? And I mean speaking against it, admonishing it, like get out of there. What is something that you really want, like remove or something?
My need to control situations, whether it's relationships, whether it's like I think you people have the tendency. Well, I have the tendency when in my mind thing can go so certain way, and I realize that after you do some shadow work and deep healing, it really comes down to fear. You're afraid of
Mhm.
the outcome. You're afraid of rejection. You're afraid of failure, or whatever it is. So if you think you can control the person or the situation or manipulate it, then it'll make you feel a little bit better. But then it's
Mhm.
kind of like one of those things like if you really do believe, like especially like if you're Christian or whatever you believe in, it's like like everything would always work out. Why you having control? Just like do what you need to do, take the inspired action, and then literally let go and let God. But I feel like that's one of those things that I'm struggling with now that I'm always praying against is like this fear that I have of if I was to be transparent, it's just like rejection and failure
Mhm.
because those are funny enough. Like it's like in my I know like it's like in relationships or it's like in career pursuits that it's like, oh, am I good enough or am I worthy enough? But it's like all of that self-doubt comes from fear.
Mhm. And
Like,
we talked about that, Chi Chi, because
so we just still pray. It's still a prayer for
we are still praying on that because I really believe in you. Like I can't speak that enough into your life of you have all of that strength, all of that power that just by being you and showing up in these places where people don't always think that black women should be in. And it's so inspirational to know that, you, yeah, you just should know. You
you.
got it. But we'll
I
talk about that on the after show too. Because,
because it's like I just feel like you got to do it when one wins, we all win. You got to break that glass ceiling. It was similarly to what we was talking about. It's like even to get into like these spaces, the C suites, it's kind of like first off, if there is black women or any black person, and for the matter, like in these like higher level exec positions, it's like who's the plug to them? You know
hmm
what I mean? It's like, how many people have you seen? Like, oh, I got a friend Billy. I got, oh, my neighbor Michael. Sarah. Everyone be referring, but when it comes to like black, it's like, and then everyone talks about racial justice and health equity. It's like that's one of the things. It's mentorship. Like who links who to where.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the two that may be up in those positions. Who got to connect to them?
Can I see something right now?
Go ahead.
So, Carissa was the spiritual plug. You can be that plug because it's not there.
Mm-hmm.
And what can you do to create that? So, what you've done was like, people don't do that. Like, they don't reach out, but you know how to do it. So maybe that's what you create in your area. Like, even if it's just for Black women, we, as women in whatever field we're in, women in leadership, women in whatever it is, but some type of connection. I can see that, and you really, because you have this voice, you have this like this presence, and people really listen to you.
Really? It's still one of those things. It's like me learning, like talking about positive affirmations is me always trying to reaffirm like my experience matters, my voice
Yeah.
matters, my feelings matter, my thoughts matter. You know what I mean? Like, and not even that it matter, but I trust and believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I don't believe it, then how are they going to believe it? You know what I mean? And it's like
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
apologize. I know we don't have time, but it's like I think why I go so hard was because I remember, I mean, it's still like that, where someone calls you, you're too loud or you're too ghetto or however you present yourself. I'm like, I can be a sensitive savage. I can be a revolutionist and ratchet as fuck. Like the two not
Okay.
mutually exclusive. If anything, it adds depth to my character. Like I can still have leadership and have my edges laid and wear my jewelry. Like I don't have to present or mitigate myself for anybody's appeasement. I think that's why I go so hard for everyone that's been told you're too much. And really what it is you're so much and so powerful that it makes other people uncomfortable, and you should not dim your light for someone else's appeasement. And I think I learned that from high school, and I just keep going. And I was like, I never want to be that person again where I gotta, put your job security voice and be like, hi, hello. Like that took too much energy. Don't have that
Yeah.
time.
No
Why can't I
time.
show up like me?
And that's exactly what. So that thing is an outcome. That may not come like a year,
Mhm.
5 years. That's something to work towards too, because like you said, you have to believe in it. And that's one thing that I'm also working on too is that self sabotage.
Mm.
Because honey, I've been in some instances like I could have made an extra coin. I could have got a good nut. And even just speaking rule. Like that self sabotage comes from like my imposter syndrome, we've talked about before, and especially on the show. And I'm really struggling with that. Like, who are you to say some, or do you even know what you're talking about? So those are just a couple of things that I've said to myself. But I've slowly been adjusting the kindness that I extend to myself. So let's talk about that. Like, we extend kindness to others. Some don't even deserve it. But why should we extend an extra layer of kindness or gentility or grace to ourselves?
I think because that's the foundation of true self love and self care. I mean, I know those are like buzzwords now, and that's the new vogue of like trying to like. I mean, but it's like when you really think about what self love or self care is, simply speaking, it's like you're caring for yourself. You're loving
Mm-hmm.
yourself. So if you truly love and care for yourself, then why would you have negative thoughts? Why you speak down to yourself? Why can't you forgive yourself? Show yourself that same kindness and compassion and forgiving. I know it's easier said than done. And that's how I kind of started looking at it, because it was kind of like all those times that you want that friend, how you wanted that shoulder to lean on, or you wanted that boyfriend or that girlfriend, like how you wanted whoever in your life to show up. Be that girlfriend to yourself, be that friend to yourself, be that mom, that dad, that sister, that big demands to yourself. And I was like, I think that's true love. That's true like care, because I was too busy looking at it elsewhere, realizing I should have been doing that for myself. Because don't
Mm,
nobody got me how I'm gonna get me. Can't nobody adore and love me and cherish me like I'm gonna adore and cherish myself.
no. Ooh, Chi. That's a
I'm
good
just
one.
thinking because 2020's been a year.
2020 is here, and it's not going anywhere. Like, what are we doing? So, just like you said, it takes work, like action behind it, and that's what I'm working on. Self appreciation. Like, we applaud everybody else, but when do we celebrate ourselves? Like, what is something that you recently celebrated, or on the opposite end, what is something that you should have celebrated?
I think I struggle with that because I think when people think about humility, they don't want to like brag. You know what I mean? And I guess there's a way of saying that it's like I'm learning that even in celebrating, then you should only celebrate your accomplishments in spaces that support you. Because not everyone
Mm,
going to be cheering for you.
yeah,
And it was just one of those things. It's like if I want to, and I mean it sucks because if someone wants to brag on their degree or brag on their house or do this, I'm like, you know what, that's an accomplishment because I don't know their story to where they got here. So how dare I throw hate or shade? You know what I mean? I may, and then it's that line that's like, I don't want to covet anybody else's blessings, but it's like knowing that mine is coming soon. So for me, I've learned that if I want to celebrate, because I used to like, not talk about my accomplishments because I don't want to make other people feel bad, especially if the people you're telling their life isn't as going as how they wanted it to go. So I just learned to be like, you know what? I'm gonna be big up myself. Like Chichi, you did that. Like how you come here to where you was. Like privately, I celebrate where I am. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
celebrate that's like I just turned 30 and I was like, I'm nothing like how I was in my teens, and I'm definitely not nothing like how I was in my 20s. And I refuse to bring all of that energy into this new decade.
yes.
So that's
That
what I
is.
celebrate
Ooh,
was that I've took these lessons that finally I'm learning and applying it. And life has been so much smoother.
smooth. Like
Smooth.
that's
I
what
didn't
I
say smooth.
really
I said smooth.
get into. You ride it. Like
You just gotta ride these waves.
I think
You
that's
literally
really,
just ride surf
really
on it. Like
yours is so deep. Like what I am celebrating is I recently blocked an ex. It's something I celebrated because I realized we weren't doing each other any good by playing that game. Child, you know what game I'm talking about.
mm,
Ooh, can we go there? Can we talk about
go there, go there. I
love
got it.
relationships
I
and
was
shit
ready
for a
for
second?
this.
I got it.
Mm,
I got it.
mm-hmm.
So, what things have you learned about yourself in regards to relationships?
I'm like 2 levels below toxic. Like, but it was one of in the way that it's like I had to do a lot of healing work. You know what I mean? That you're just rushing from one relationship to another, and you're just creating baggage or carrying baggage. And I learned that I developed weird codependent like tendencies. It was like, in the beginning, dudes be like on it. They'll call you like you got their schedule down packed. And it's like that 1 minute where, they answer the phone on the third ring instead of the first one. Or they're taking 10 minutes too long to call you back. And it's like start having flashbacks to the last person. Like, last time someone did their attitude changed up, there was another woman. One even went so far and married another girl. So I was like, yeah, that one was new. But I was like, I think once I learned that what this was, this wasn't even like, yeah, some people do fuckery, but I was also contributing to it too because one, I allowed it. One, I rushed myself getting into a situation where I missed the most important relationship of all was so when you talk about positive affirmations, one thing that I'm now looking in my single, I call it my season of being in a relationship with myself
Yes.
because single just sounds too harsh for me. So,
It
it's
does.
a season of being in a relationship with yourself. And I learned that that was important because somewhere along the line, I lost myself. I was too busy pouring into all these relationships and it wasn't being reciprocated. Or I didn't feel the love and the appreciation, or better yet, they wasn't loving me in the way that I felt like I wanted at that time, that I needed at that time.
Ooh, so I'm very similar in that because I have my love language at the highest moment. It's quality time. But
That's
quality
nice.
time for me, it
I
see,
love quality
it
time.
looks so different for me because it doesn't always have to be let's sit around each other. It can be you could live somewhere else. If I had that deep connection with you at some point, I've had to have that. I don't do that anymore. Like, oh, social media, boo. No, that did not work for me. So it's more so if I had to have a connection. But if you do happen to live somewhere else, I can do that. What I've learned is that codependency was on me. I was like, oh well, they want me to answer the phone, so I'm gonna answer the phone on the first week, even when I ain't want to. So I was leading into their like
Mhm.
dependency. So when it changed, it was a shock for them. So I will say I was a fuckboy. So you said 2 levels under toxic. I'm right there with you. Okay.
Like, and it's just like being honest and real with yourself. Like, and then I think one of the biggest things, like, and now that I'm looking back, like some of these, because honestly, they weren't bad guys. You know what I mean? Like, generally speaking, like they weren't necessarily bad. It was just like wrong timing, or rather, I'm just a different individual than when I was dating them. And now that I look back at it, like a lot of them taught me so much about what I now want in my next relationship. Like, I've now learned the difference between passion and just lust, love and like desire, like just straight friends and platonic, and like, okay, this is what I want. Because there was three in particular that I can, like, at least the last three. One was just like, that was my homie, and I realized like I wasn't really sexually attracted. It's like, I can't do that. Like, I need some type of physical attraction, but I loved you as a person. That's was like,
Yeah.
I need it. And for me, I would leave before I would cheat. So that's how
Yeah.
that worked. And then the one where you get, it's like, now this is just pure lust and desire, but there was no depth to it. And I was like, all right, like I need something else. And then when you realize that it's that fine balance that you can have both. You know what I mean? You could have your homie lover friend. Like, that's to me is my ideal relationship. And I had to
Right.
learn, you know what I mean? Like, I had to learn, like, I want someone that's my guy. Like, what? Let's go play spades, or let's go out on a dinner, and then you can blow my back out like I'm Ricky. Like, that was the energy that I needed. You know what I mean?
And
And
Titi, what I will say is that I have been friend zoned so
oh,
like
not the friend
recently.
zone.
And so it's like, I don't mind it because you're being honest with me. But what I look for is someone that can be my friend that, we blow each other back out. Like, it don't matter. But in that sense of like sexual desire and that intimacy, I feel like you can have that in a package. But people, you get to learn that. So if you're friends, I'm gonna take that as like friend zone. That's it. Like, we're not going anywhere else. But if we have that conversation of I want to start off as friends, like let's move, it has to be a goal for me. That may be my not boundary, bad behavior. But I'm gonna want that.
I mean, but then we gotta identify like friend zone, because I'm not hunching on my friends now, my male friends. So that's why I be like, so you do this with all your female friends? Okay.
Is that
That's why
how
I
you
was like,
get down?
people need to really be crystal clear on what they're talking about. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, all right, like, because for me, I'm just like, I don't really mind certain things. Like, I move with the flow. So it's kind of like, I've been in situations where you're like essentially lovers and friends, and then it doesn't go anywhere else. And for whatever reason, it never transitions to that next level. And I feel like you brought
Mhm.
up the word intimacy, and I'm like, I think that's what it is. I feel like people think intimacy is just essentially sharing bodies. Sometimes it's
Mhm.
like you need to share your thoughts, your feelings. Like, what are your goals? What are your hobbies? Like, where do you even see yourself? What are your fears? Like, if we're not
Right.
getting down to that type of conversations, like when I say I want to get to know you, those are the questions where I want to get to know. I want to get to know
Yeah.
who you are, like your essence, your who you are intrinsically. I don't need to know your sign. What the hell am I going to do if you're an Aquarius? That's nice, you know.
It'll help me
And then
narrow
so
down a
that's,
month.
yeah, and I'm like, okay. Your favorite color green, that's nice. No, like we're adults, so let's date like we're
Yes.
adults.
And it's really exactly. You said that like so clearly, adults. So for me, dating is like that, getting to know. Because if I'm dating you, I'm willing to share these things that I'm not willing to share, like with anybody.
Exactly.
Partner should be that one that can have every element of who I am. And so I don't jump into it in that way. But I feel like once we get to that level, where we that's where I want to be, because if I can't tell you something, that my dirty joke that I don't want to tell nobody else, who can I tell my dirty joke to?
Like exactly, like I always tell people, I'm like, listen, like the way you support people is like, if you're my friend, like that means like, or in anything, for because even your partner is essentially your friend at the end of the day. Like it's
Yeah,
on this
yeah,
foundation level, you guys are friends, and it's like people need to be there for you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, if possible, financially, energetically. If you my nigga, if you my guy, sexual, you all of that, plus sexually, plus like vibrationally, plus I'm sharing my future, my dreams, my aspirations, and I'm just like, you doing all nine. If you're my friend, I'm gonna give you like 4 out of 9,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
5 out of 9, maybe. You could choose whichever one you want to be there. To pray for me, be there when I cry. I don't care. You choose. But if you my guy, you're gonna be there all the way around, because it's like, what are you doing? Like, I feel like that's what separates anyone from being quote unquote a friend or an
yeah,
acquaintance or whatever the hell
yeah,
people say these days. Like, what am I gonna do with
brother.
boo? Like, what's bae? You know what I mean? I'm like, that's not gonna help me grow. That's not gonna help me heal. That's not gonna help me continue on a legacy. Like, I want to, when I think marriage, I'm saying that I want two of us to join and create a new legacy. That's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
yes.
This new
Woo.
opportunity, like this new opportunity for generational wealth. Like, that is what I'm talking about. I don't got
The
time to take pictures of matching fits now. We can do that, but can we first secure what we're trying to, this empire we're trying to build?
where the money gonna come from?
You know, but what do I know? You know, I'm still in the season. I'm in a relationship with myself. God is on throne. This is when you start saying God is on throne, because he gonna make this way possible.
Me too. So, what about deal breakers? Like, do you have any deal breakers?
I hate a liar. There's something about liars. Ooh, I can't do liars.
I can't either. Mine would be like closed minded. Like, life is so full of new shit and new adventures and new lessons. I can't get someone who isn't open to new things or even trying to understand another person's perspective, even if you don't agree with it. Ooh, and that lack of ambition, honey. Like, you don't have to be an executive. You ain't got to be no attorney for me to love you, but you do have to have some sort of goal, dream, or aspiration that you're actively pursuing. I can't stand somebody that's just fine with being stagnant.
Yeah, no, the stagnation is a lot. I mean, it's so interesting because it's like no one has life figured out, but it's kind of like I'm one of those people that's kind of like, this is probably how I get up in situations that I am. Is not everyone, I in any situation, you know, someone has strengths and someone has weaknesses. Like, I'm full of ambition. Not that I need a guy with no ambition, but if you have less ambition than me, I don't mind helping you find your passion, because it's true. There's a lot of people out here working jobs that they are not fulfilled in. You know what I mean? Like, and it's more so trying to figure out what are you passionate about, and that you can then ideally make money from it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind helping someone do that. But like, the you're just content, like, and nowhere to go. That's the one that I can't get jiggy with. I don't know what's happening over there. Like, work with me.
I was trying, TG. I tried my hard damnness. I said 2020. I don't know why. You seen the meme or the video of the little girl with the birthday cake and her sister, like, so it was one where it was like 2020 and then my plans. And I was like, that was me, the little girl. 2020 blew out all my dating plans because people is just like weird, and they've gotten weird since we've been in quarantine. You know, you would think people would be thinking great thoughts and be so positive and think these good things, but no, they let so much take them down. And that's not a judgment. It's just like please think before you post stuff. See that. That's where I get a lot of the stuff from. Okay, people see that, and I be worried, but of course I don't reach out. But now, if we dating and I see you doing that, that's just me. I'm a nurturer. Like that's one of the things that I may have to like see. That may be number 9 that I may not give a partner yet. That's something I gotta work on.
Like I'm a nurturer too, but like I'm forgiving. I don't even be bothered a lot. Like I'm so easygoing, but I realize that I can't even pretend to be something that I'm not. You know what I mean? Like what I'm not going to do is I'm not about to yell. I'm not arguing. Like I don't do any of that. Like I'm smooth with the delete and remove your name from my contact list. Like I don't have I'm not looking for closures. I'm not doing none of that. And I think that's just because I've gotten to a point where like that's my boundaries. It's like if because I let people go. The only reason why I let people do things how they do is because then you get to see who they are. Like if you think this is a-okay, like you think this is okay, this is why you're doing it. And you don't see anything wrong with that, I can't do it.
TJ,
Because
that is why we're
I'm
so
gonna
like
give you one time to tell you, like, I'm gonna say, like, yo, like, I'm not feeling this, or I don't like it, or something. But if you continue to do, like, that's just who you are, and you don't see anything wrong with that. And I'm like, that's fine. So what I'm gonna do is respectfully remove myself. Like, and I've just had to learn that. And I've learned that in so many, like, I feel like 2020 taught me so much about boundaries because I realized I had none. People was out here crip walking, just milly rocking all over my feelings, partly because I allowed them. And I can't be mad at nobody else but me because I allowed it.
I allowed it too.
So for me, I was like, so you thought this was a-okay. No problem. See what that's fine. I'm awake now. And we just gonna
I'm a
figure
crip walk on out.
yeah, like I'm up now. And we're just gonna get this one right here. And that's it. No love life.
That's what I was
I'm
doing.
doing too much.
It was literally crip walking. They had the audacity. Audacity was free,
A
but
meme. Someone said 2020, like people just been having the audacity for free. Like just someone's been giving out audacity for free. I'm like, yo, people's been trying it left and right. And I was like, see, this is too much.
so that was another thing that was brought up because somebody had the audacity to tell me that because of the length of time that we've known each other, that we should just jump into like marriage. So, do you believe in time structure? Like by month 3, we got to be boyfriend girlfriend, or after a year, we need to be engaged.
No, I believe whenever you and that person are solid, and I feel like that varies, that's different in whatever relationship. You know what I mean? No relationship is the same. What works for you won't work for a person B. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I've seen people was dating for like 8 years and divorced in like 2. I've seen people that known each other for like a year and they're still happily married till today. Like I feel like when you know, like I don't want to say something cheesy as when you know, but I understand from when I've been dating, there is a feeling of I feel comfortable. Like I've gotten enough like information from you that I now want to marry you. Like I feel like how I take marriage, when I say I want to marry this person, I'm like I'm trusting you to go half on a baby with me. I'm trusting you with finance. Like me and you are now tying our finances together.
Right.
That's a whole lot of trust. And that only comes from those intimate moments that we was talking about where like I've seen you, I've seen how you are, I've heard you speak, I see how you not only your talk but your actions match it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And it's like, okay, I see how you leading your life. And I was like, now I'm not necessarily that much of like a whole Bible reader, but that whole like for women to submit, I actually don't have a problem with submission, but I have a problem with submitting to a man that don't even lead his own right life. You ain't gonna mislead me. That's just how that happened. Like that's just what I'm saying. There's absolutely no way I'm submitting to someone that's not even leading his own life right.
I have
You need to
given
show
so
me with your finance how you budgeting. What's your budgeting game like? Are you insured? We need insurance. Do you have job security? What is your relationship like? How do you treat women? Like, so I can now see what I'm in store for, because however you treat other women in your life is a reflection of what's about to come down the line.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like how are you with kids? Are you even, do you want kids? Like, let's not force situations that we don't want to be in. And I feel
Right.
like that, whatever the time frame is when you gather enough information on this person, and vice versa, guys too. You got to do your background check on these women. Like, who are you? Because this is who you're, is going to be the mother to your child. Like, this is
Right.
who y'all have time finances to. You don't want a liability. I keep saying it. You don't want a liability.
It's a business for me. I
Like,
literally think of it as we're getting into this contractual agreement because
mhm,
it ain't got to be written, but
mhm,
I'm believing that if I have given you everything that I see, we've talked about all of the things that are in my contract, you got your contract, we can do that. What do you believe in? What are your values? What are you adding into your life, into my life? And so that's even just dating. I've gotten into that place of, because Atlanta, the dating pool is pretty rough. So,
like,
you
how
know,
are we
it's
popping over there? Like,
it be popping, but it be popping sometimes for some wrong things. But I don't believe in time structure either. It's really just like you said, like, what are you telling me? Like, what information have I gathered and what actions have I seen? Because I'm gonna do a background check with you. Like, you're gonna have to be the one to tell me because I know people have lied on me before. So
mhm.
I want to know like exactly what happened in whatever situation. I want to be honest. Let me say I want to be honest with people in whatever situation that they have heard or anything else, if that's something that they know, because those things become bigger baggage later. And so it may be a level of trust and that's uncovered or something like that. So yeah, it's a lot. That time structure, I don't play with it because you ain't finna just get married to me because we've been together a year.
It's like, and also to piggyback what you said, like, I think it's also like that people, I want to see who you are when times get real. Because everyone puts on their good face. Everyone's on their best behavior. Like, you are in those first few years or months, you're meeting their representative.
Yeah,
I don't got time to meet that person. I want to see the real you. With situate when it hits the when shit hit the fan. Can you curse? I don't know. When like when it really gets real and critical, who are, because that tells me who you are. If
right,
you get into an argument, what's your communication like? Are you someone that shuts down? Are you one of those that, oh, you need 3 days to cool off? Or you one of those that want to deal with it now? Like, these are information that I need to know.
right.
So I can see how,
Don't get
what
that.
if it vibes with how my like communication style is.
And we have to do that because communication is so big to me because
Mm-hmm.
in that space. I want to know how we're going to communicate to each other when we're angry because there are going to be times where I'm angry. And so it's really about that. Like, how do we communicate with each other, even when we're in our worst feelings? But people don't think about that. And because I'm going to give you Eddie raw if we're in that dating like phase because it's unfiltered. Like, it's not saying I'm filtered, but it's like you get to know so much that I don't, yeah, stuff that I couldn't even share with anybody else because I feel like that's a level where I have not shared with anybody else. So you are privy to this information. Maybe I need to get an NDA.
You know, I feel you on a spiritual level with that, because it's like what I've been noticing is like I give myself completely. Like, I don't got time to give like 30% because I'm afraid, and everyone. I don't got energy for. I don't even know how to divvy out percentages of me. It's all or nothing. Either I'm in, because I'm like, why the hell are we dating? Like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, I need to know. Like, I'm like, this is what you're setting up, and for those that hasn't left, like that never stayed, I'm like, then it wasn't meant to be
Mm-mm.
for whatever reason. And I'm like, because this is literally who I am. And I'm not gonna apologize for that. Like, I don't got time to play nice and like do all this extra stuff for what? Like we're getting old now. We don't got time for all of that. Like who? That's tiring. Like that is.
That's right.
I'm getting aggravated just thinking about it because this dating is trash. It's so whack because for whatever people are afraid of being vulnerable, and it's one of those things. It's like it's just one of those things. It's like vulnerability is scary, yes, but it's also a chance for you to get to know someone.
Mm-hmm.
When you're vulnerable, you're allowing someone to like be there for you. You're seeing, okay, this is this person.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's beautiful.
I think it's beautiful too. My favorite Keith Rowland said, "Vulnerability is being real," and
Exactly.
so yes, nobody wants to be vulnerable anymore. So I'm just like, whatever, you ain't got me, but we're gonna move it on. You can move where you want to go. I go where I need to go. I don't need no closure. You ain't ghosting.
Oh my gosh, the
Just
ghosting. I'm not even impressed.
I'm not. It don't happen so much, Keechy. I'm just like, oh, another one.
I'm gonna just sip on that one because this ghosting. Mm-mm.
Well, thank you for appeasing me for a moment. Now, we both work in public health, and I know that can consume a lot of our time. Like the commitment to the betterment of the community sometimes overshadows our own growth personally and even professionally. Like, what steps do you take in order to not be consumed by that dedication?
Actually removing myself, removing work, separating life and work, creating a real life work balance. Like I just feel like for us to anyone that's in any type of field where you're dealing with people and their emotions, the first thing is always first that you need to take care of yourself. You cannot take care of others if you are not taking care of yourself. Like, so for me to best serve you, then there needs to be a separation of the two because I can't be stressing in my real life and then coming to work and be stressing with the people and things there because that leaves me depleted.
And that's what I'm learning too, because it's the people around you that I have to really think about because I don't want to be. Like there are stresses at work. Yes, don't get me wrong, but I've learned how not to stress out at work. Thank the Lord. But I don't want to have stress in my personal time. And so if you're adding any type of stress, you gone or I'm gone. One of us gotta go. And it's normally gonna be me because I know how to make an exit. I get my little purse like Viola Davis. I be out.
Listen, I'm here for it.
So let's say we talked about risk before, like taking risk. We've had our share of goals that we didn't have the expected outcome. But what are your beliefs around taking risks?
Do it. Go all the way. Like I'm a very all or nothing person. Like if you're gonna do, you better commit and go hard because something's gonna hit. And even if it doesn't, then you learn from your mistakes. You learn from what you can do better. If anything, it's an improvement. But you're not gonna know where you are unless if you don't do something.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes back to the original thing that we was talking about of the things that I'm trying to like work on is like it ultimately comes back to fear. And
Yeah.
once I realized that, like for me to grow in whatever, I need to take risks. I need to actually put myself out there and do it. And I applied that in literally every aspect of my life, whether it's career or dating or whatever it is, just simply existing.
Simply existing.
Like, you better just go ahead.
Take a leap. Yeah.
Like,
Over time, I've gotten more comfortable with taking risks, like applying for that grant or shooting my shot. There are going to be risks throughout our life, but I've learned how to like navigate this space. Though not all risks are meant to be taken, but I take majority of them hoes if it's a reasonable outcome.
like, I mean, For me, there's levels. I mean, you can always take calculated risks. I mean, but I'm always one of those things that I just go out, like
Just
things
do
that
it.
you just, as long as you do it, because you will never know. At least say for the fun of it, for the thrill of it, or like you just, but you feel so much better saying that you did it. And what
Yes.
I've learned that to beat, like, the antidote for fear is action. You know what I mean? Because then it's like it's not so bad after all.
You're right. That's
Like,
true.
you know, like at the end when you finally do it, it's like it wasn't that bad. So this is what I've been half stepping on. This is what I never did. This is what took me so long. This is what I wasted years on. Man, I could have did this a long time ago.
That's so true because like I've taken so many risks like later
Mm.
in the time when I really could have did it in that moment when I really thought about it. First thought about like going to grad school or all this other shit that I've done. And it's so important in your life to really think about those things. And if you have the thought, that's something telling you. Maybe you need to do some research into what it is. And then you may not even you may say, "Oh, I should have did. I can do this now." Like, don't take that time. Like, don't don't be don't be it. I feel like Miss Sophia. Don't trade places with Miss Sophia.
That's the one thing that I've been learning, especially when it comes to career. Like, even when just going out and sending those emails or putting in those applications, it's like you're just getting it out there. Each time I put in an application, I'm revising, I'm retweaking my resume. Like, there's always a steady improvement. Sometimes it just goes from whether or not you got the job, but sometimes it's going from hearing nothing at all to finally getting that interview. I'm like, okay, something's working here. Like, let's work with this. Let's do this.
Let's go with it.
You know, and it's just like I feel like that's just how I've been. That's what 2020 has been like teaching me slowly, was just taking risks or inspired actions or like just anything, you know. So
I,
that's
I see you, Judge. Sometimes you do second guess yourself on taking risks, but for me, I have learned that if I don't do it, will I regret it? And so then it's like it's not saying there's a time limit on what you get to. Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. But it's more so of like I have more power than I thought I did. And so I really could have did this 5 years ago. I could have did this 10 years ago. So I'm just saying that's think outside of that second guessing because your first thought is that raw thought.
yeah. Sometimes it's the right answer. Like, I feel like no one like sabotages yourself more than yourself. No one critiques yourself harder than you critique yourself. You know what I mean? And I was just like, I'm always second guessing myself. I feel like I have a thing that I want to do, and then boom, there goes negative Nancy in my head. So I'm like, girl, stop it. But it was like one of those things is like, well, something in me wants to do it, and here I am telling myself, like, that's crazy. It's not as if someone else is telling me not to do it. I'm telling myself not to do it.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like, well, where is this coming from? Like, where is the first step? Like, how do I even, because it's like when you watch, because I've been around children a lot, it's like when you see them, they're just in their joy. Like, they are going, they're committing, they can't walk and they still trying. Like, they're just there's something pure and innocent of like not being tainted. But somewhere along our lives for adults, something happened and we just lose it. And it's like trying to come back to that original source of joy, original source of power that like almost children have, that I've been
Yes.
trying to get to. And I was like, when I find when those moments come up where I second guess myself, and I'm just like, that's when you start telling them like, okay, well, look at the stuff that I've overcome so far.
Yeah.
And I
It's a
was like,
life resume.
yeah, like a lot of people, like, you know, like it's those, when you said celebrating yourself, I'm like, these are the times that I celebrate myself, when those types of voices start coming in, when those types of doubts start coming in. It's like, well, I've made it this far. When I couldn't thought I was going to pay this, or I didn't think I was going to get into this school, or do this, then what if you are your worst critic? Girl, I'm my own worst critic. And I was like, no critic, can nobody tell me nothing more than I tell myself. That's the funniest thing. Like, I won't let nobody tell me something, but I'm gonna tell myself something. And it's just like believing in the things that I actually truly believe in. And I think where you get the power behind is when you remember the stuff that you've persevered from. Because you didn't make it this far by accident. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone has gone through something that you are proud of, that you came out and that you made it rose like a fucking phoenix, you know? And those are things that keep me going.
Yeah,
Like
I
you
think
were
of
going
myself as my own life coach because,
yeah.
like, I'm literally there. Like, you got this, you got this. Like, literally coaching myself into doing these things, and so it's gotten to a point now where it's more second nature. But at first, it wasn't like that. But I get it. So you said another word that really made me think about like a lot, joy. So what has it taken for you to have joy in that darkness whenever it overcomes?
I try to remember the time that I actually was happy and then do things that bring about those emotions. Like certain things that bring me joy is just, for me, cooking. I like creating things. So that's my creative expression. And it's just like, and I'm very sensual. So I like to enjoy like the smell, the actual colors. Like those are the things that bring, so then I kind of apply it to like how everything else is like, okay, well, for my career, like I want to actually see how would I feel if I get like, you know, become a director of this government agency. Like you start feeling yourself, you move different when you start telling yourself like, bitch, you bad. You know, when you put
Yes.
that lip gloss on, like, who gonna stop me? You know, like it's little things that you like, aesthetic. Like for me, like I think that's one of the things I've learned about being so sensual is like I have to see it, I have to feel it, I gotta touch it, I gotta taste it for it to create that joy. Like for me, I have to really, really get like joy isn't I have a memory. I want to literally actively recreate that. Like I can think of a moment, but for me to feel it, I gotta create it again. And if I can't create that one, then I gotta do something that gets me there. Because that joy is what keeps me alive.
Yes.
Especially when this world is already so well, this year has been trying. So the little joy that you can create for yourself is what's gonna get it by.
I think so. I have a catalog of moments of joy that I just really just have stored away because there have been some really dark times, even in the past month, I'll say past month. And it's just really gotten to a place where I'm just like, well, what are you gonna do? Like, it's fight or flight. And so I'm gonna always fight in the end because I have more life that I want to live. I have dreams that I want to accomplish. I have like that legacy that I want to leave for the next generation, like of people that come in. So it's always thinking about what's going to happen. So that leads to my
But I think,
next question.
but I think the I just want to put like a little caveat was because like as when people push, it's important that you're actually doing it with whatever you're pushing and striving towards. You have to find something that you're enjoying it with. Because I remember when I got my master's, I can say happy that I got my master's and all that stuff, but the process drained me. That to the point I don't even want to look at books no more. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like it wasn't a joyous opportunity. Like it feels good saying it, but I actually remember what I'm happy about is that I made it through, truth be told. Because
Mm-hmm.
the toll it took, like the physical toll, the emotional toll, the financial toll it took almost drained me that you don't even know if it's worth it anymore. Like it's one of those things, it's like had I've not been passionate about the work that I want to do, I would have been like, to hell with this. Two fingers up to this thing. Cause it's like it almost killed literally. I'm not joking when I say I almost died.
Me too, Chi. Like I,
Like,
I struggle so hard. I literally had three really close like people in my cohort that if it were not for them, I'm not gonna cry, but I literally would not have made it through grad school because the other people in my tribe, they were pushing me. They were like, you can do it. But I was like, I'm working, I'm struggling, I'm like trying to study, I'm trying to do these papers, and I'm not good in this shit. So it's
exactly.
something new. And then, yeah, I didn't have the energy because by the end, I had so much stuff that was so clouding my judgment. The paper, means a lot, yes, but the struggle meant way more to me when I walked across that stage. It was like, okay, great. But I was really just like, it was almost like a baptism for me because I was like, this is it. Thank the Lord. I really could have shouted on.
Yeah, like, and I just feel like it's so important to say that. It was like, even if you're working, like even now, like when you're working a job, it's like you don't want to come back, and like you have to find something that you enjoy to replenish what you've lost. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to keep going, and you're empty because we are not given anything. And I realized I was becoming angry. I was snapping. I was crying all the time. And I was like, I had to, until I literally finished grad school. And for like 6 months, I just did not work. Like I had to relax for a second, get everything right because I was so out of whack. And I think that is so important for like, even now, like when you're working, like it's like I literally schedule like meditation breaks where I just go in my car and literally take a nap or I relax because it becomes too much. You know what I mean? And it's like you don't want to be in a situation where like, because at the end of the day, these jobs are going to replace you. For you to
Yes,
work, you need a, like my dad always used to say, you know, like you got to self-preservation.
it is.
Like you got to, the most expensive thing I own is my sanity. Like, so
Yeah,
that joy, like at the end, I was like, my sanity comes in when something got to give. Like even when I'm being critical at myself, I'm like, you talking too damn much. You got to relax. I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna remind myself that you dope. Like something at some point you get tired of being sick and tired,
yeah.
you know? And I just feel like when people get to that point, then you start making steps to do something and
Hmm.
realizing, as you said, creating like something gotta go. Something like you it something gotta be readjusted because this ain't it. This is not working for me.
You can't occupy that space
Yeah.
like.
And it's sad because I see people stuck. Like
Mhm.
when you see it, and it's worse because you see because you know what that looks like.
Yes, yes,
And it's like, bro, sis, create like you gotta create heaven on earth for you because no one is gonna give it to you. So you gotta create it. And I understand it's easier said than done when you got family, you work in 3 jobs, you but just whatever time, like I'm always instilling like self-preservation because you only got this one life and you don't want someday heart attack gonna come for you. You know what I mean? Like strokes, like people we're dying left and right. And it's for what?
yes.
You're not even gonna like enjoy it.
I think about that all the time because, like,
Yeah.
you
And
have to find time, even if it's you start with minute here, minute there, 5 minutes, grow into 5 minutes. You find that time. I literally will. I won't ignore calls, but I'll take a nap, and I don't be hearing my phone. And that's just for me because I need to take a nap because I know I'm going to have a long night because I got a lot of shit to do. So
yeah,
I
and
find time to take my nap.
scrolling, napping, baths, putting your phone on do not disturb. Like it's like sometimes it doesn't need to be this elaborate ritual for self-care. Like it's sometimes it's just literally I'm to myself and this is me time. Whatever that looks like, whether it's retail therapy or getting your nails done or doing this or hanging out with your friend, whatever that is that makes you happy and enjoy them and be present, do it.
Do it. Mm. So what's next for Chi Chi?
I'm just trying to make it, man. I'm just trying to be a black woman and make it in this life. It's so sad because it's just like really that's just really what it is at this time. It's just really just be healthy. I want to be healthy mentally. I'm working on being healthy mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Um, Especially everything that recently happened. I was like, I don't want to lose. Like I've come so far. You know what I mean? And I was like, yes, things happen that shake you up a little bit. But I was like, what can I do now? Because I know depression, I know anxiety, I know anger, and I don't want that to consume me anymore because it wasn't productive. If anything, it was destructive as hell.
What I will say is that the right way, you're going at it because I didn't. I did not. In the same situation, I did not do that. And I took the wrong route. So you got it, Skipper.
I mean, just
Consider me as your coach. Like whenever you just, I'm in your head. Like,
and I just want to say that I appreciate you so much because I mean, people talk about day ones and all stuff, but sometimes it's really the people that you meet that really have a positive impact in your life. And the fact that like you've been supportive in my personal endeavors, my career endeavors, like everything. And I was like, I think that is so needed and so critical. People got to get their support team right. Like, what's your team even looking like?
what's your team
If
look
you
like?
got people that can, when you got a praise report celebrating you, what you doing? What are their we gotta start throwing the words friends around loosely. Like if it's not there to come and like be there, and sometimes it's just being genuinely happy and supporting you. That's really what some people just need sometimes.
Hmm.
Like
And I
someone
think that's
to cheer you
real
on.
because people don't. Somebody posted today, one of my friends, and she was saying how she gives, and so people don't always reciprocate that, and it's something that there's a lot of people that have done that, and so it's kind of like I have to know that you're gonna like give something into my life, and really, you gave into me before I could even give into you, so it was like, dang,
That's
thanks,
true.
Gigi.
I mean, this is
That's
so
my girl.
important. I think that says who you. That's a testament of who you are as a person. Like when I see people, like if you're a person that people just naturally come and want to tell you their whole life story, like there's something in your aura that's safe, that's comforting, and I think that's a gift. You know what I mean? Because I don't really open up like that, and so the fact that you're like that's your aura, that's your presence. Maybe that's even your calling to like heal. Like it's just like that is truthfully like a god-given gift, and sometimes you need that. You need this world needs people like that
Yeah.
because it's a
One
lot
thing that I live by is like the world is not full of good people, but why not be one? So
I mean, and plus healers need to be healed too, so hopefully I'm happy that I can be that support system for you and you have some for that, because it's like we all got to help each other out. the
we
strong
gotta
the strong can be strong, the strong sometimes be weak sometimes. They need
definitely,
someone to lean on too.
because I have definitely, you don't talk me off a ledge.
Let's say God is on the throne.
God is on the throne. That's the main one.
That's
My
all.
mama told me my titties was out, and I was like, it's not gonna be out on camera. Oh, Chi Chi, this has been a delight. You are truly, truly magical, honey. Like, I believe in that. Like, ah, I so enjoyed you, and I can't wait for the after show. I hope you got like at least 5 minutes.
Listen, I got you. I'm here. I'm here.
Yes, Chichi. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Do you have like any final like words, like anything you want to say to the people?
I just want everybody, I'm just speaking life, peace, love, good health, prosperity to everyone watching. That whatever you're going through, that you are healed, forging through, hustling on, getting wherever you need to go. Just sending positive energy out there to everybody because I just think that's what everyone needs. And just speaking life into people.
I love it. They're speaking life. That's what we're gonna do. We're
Just
gonna internet you, Gigi, but we're gonna wait on me after the after show, okay? So don't go nowhere. I want to thank you all too for tuning in tonight because you don't know how much joy it brings me to know that at least y'all got something out of the episodes. It's fulfilling to know that you're taking this journey with me and all the love that's being shown from the comments. I see y'all from the love shown. Don't forget, you can follow me on all of my social media handles, Eddie Weddy, Editor of Your Live on Twitter, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, EdWiley06. You can email me topics, guest requests, request to even be on the show before season 2. Shoot me an email at igobyeddy@gmail.com. You can also catch me Thursday Thrive Alabama's Fine Guy series is Safe Sex Latex. I'll be posting the flyer tomorrow, so make sure you tune in. And lastly, I need y'all to stream Crazy by Kelly Rowland. Thank you again, y'all, for tuning in. I love y'all so much. Love you too, Jackie. Ciao.